Yeah, g'day. This is a story about a 52-year-old woman who was apparently lost in the bush for 4 days until she was rescued by her workmates. Despite all the efforts by the police rescue and the state emergency service rescue, she was found by her work colleagues. Now, I've sat on this for a while, but I decided I may as well do a story about it, or a video, sorry, about it. Now, this is a type of bullshit story that's actually filmed by those who organise these bullshit events. And then the filming, or what's been filmed, is given to the television network news stations, and they're allowed to do what they like with it, you know, cut it and edit it as they like, but they all insert their own personal reporters into it to make it seem as if, you know, they've been there filming all this as it happened. But no, that's not the case. It's all pre-recorded, and copies of those recordings are given to the news networks. Now, I'll show you this later on. So what I'll do first, I'll just show you one of the news networks' stories on how they reported on this. It was covered by the 3 major networks here in Australia, but I'll just show you the Channel 7 one to start with, and then we'll break it down a little and have a little fun. So here we go. Now, before I show you this, I just want you to keep in mind that this woman was lost in the bush for 4 days with her horse. She apparently covered herself in twigs and leaves and wattle to stay warm at night. Now, I don't know if you guys know what wattle is, but it's actually Australia's national flower, and it's a kind of flower that's made up of hundreds, if not thousands, of smaller flowers, and when they get on your clothes, they pretty much stick. So what I'd like you to note here is just how clean this woman is, and just how clean her horse is after spending 4 days lost in the bush. Her clothes are as clean as they come. So anyway, let's have a look at this bullshit story.
A horse rider lost in the high country for 4 nights has been found alive. Narelle Davies had hit her head and lost her bearings, drinking from creeks and covering herself in branches at night to keep herself warm.
Walking out of the bush with her horse still by her side, this was the magical moment Narelle Davies had been waiting for. And these were her first words.
Bit of an adventure.
Then, finally, after 4 nights lost, a long-awaited hug with her family. And the truth about her frightening ordeal.
I was wondering if I was going to get out.
The 52-year-old rider had set out on Saturday and vanished without a trace. By Monday, frantic family members had begun flying in.
2 days ago I got the phone call that we hadn't heard from Mum in a couple of days, and coming all the way from Western Australia over, it was playing on my nerves.
Also joining in the search, Narelle's colleagues from Geelong Grammar's Timbertop campus, who together were the lucky ones to find her in the early hours of this morning.
I'm so glad to see this, guys.
Do you want someone else to lead your horse?
Oh yeah, I've got him too. No, he's good. We've stuck together the last 4 days.
We turned around and she was just walking down with the horse, and we kind of all screamed and thought it was a ghost, and it was her.
It appears that she has come off the horse at some stage, received a slight bump to the head, and that she's just been sort of walking the horse around in the bush area.
Each night, Narelle made a bed out of branches and wattle and covered herself with 2 jackets.
At one stage the horse disappeared for a few hours and she didn't know what to do, she was too tired, but when she woke up the horse was back there, and every morning it was waking her up, nudging her, going, come on, let's go.
Her family saying if anyone was to survive 4 cold nights in the high country, it would be her.
She's tough. She's really tough. She always takes matches and a pocket knife with her wherever she goes.
All up, more than 50 volunteers joined in the search to bring Narelle home, and the Mansfield community says this incredible experience has brought them closer than ever. Narelle has since undergone a checkup at hospital and is said to be in good spirits. But even if she's still keen to get back in the saddle, her loved ones have other plans.
Giving her a stern talking to, trying to convince her to take up knitting or something.
Estelle Greeping, 7 News.
Yeah, sure. Now, I don't know about you, but as soon as I saw how clean this lady's clothes were, just rang alarm bells for me. There is no way someone could spend 4 nights in the bush covering themselves in twigs and leaves and wattle and walk out looking that clean. And what about her horse? I mean, why is he that clean as well? Has he been brushed this morning or what? But anyway, yeah, for me, that was a clincher. I didn't really have to go any further. But being the inquisitive type, I decided I might. So what I'm going to show you next is just a split screen compilation of the 3 networks that covered this. So yeah, let's have a look at that, and then I'll show you a little bit more.
A horse rider lost in the high country for 4 nights has been found alive.
Horsewoman Narelle Davies has been found alive and well.
From creeks and covering herself in branches at night.
And alongside her was her faithful horse.
Walking out lost in the bush, still by her side. This was the magic.
Can you believe that shit, man? The rescuer, the volunteer rescuer, her workmate, has to prompt her family to give her hugs. I mean, really.
Narelle Davies.
Give her hugs. Give her hugs.
Davies relieved that she made it out alive.
Then finally, after
The 52-year-old nurse was led out by her rescuers, colleagues from Geelong Grammars Timbertop campus, that found her at 8:30 this morning.
And we turned around and she was just walking down with the horse. And we kind of all screamed and thought it was a ghost.
Just kilometres away from her campsite at Hoax Hills.
Locating the lady was fantastic because it's not often we're that lucky.
And, heard from Mum in a couple of days and coming all the way from Western Australia over.
Walked back, looked as sprightly and happy, and so he's pretty much perfect.
Narelle's colleagues from Geelong Grammars
solo ride on Saturday afternoon.
Together
Somehow
were
she became disoriented and
in the
couldn't
early
get back
hours
to
of this
camp.
morning.
Her family raised the alarm and a massive search
And she was just walking down with the horse. And we kind of all screamed and thought it was a ghost, and it was. And she was just walking down with the horse, and we kind of all screamed and thought it was a ghost.
Amazing.
She's a tough bugger.
That she has come off the horse at some stage, received a slight bump to the head, and that yeah, she's just been sort of walking the horse around in the bush area, showing that her experience and knowledge of the area. We're probably very fortunate.
Are you kidding, Keegan? Her experience and knowledge of the area. Well, why the fuck was she lost for 4 days, you bullshit artist?
At one stage the horse disappeared for a few hours and she didn't know what to do, she was too tired, but when she woke up the horse was back there, and every morning it was waking her up, nudging her, going, come on, let's go.
Oh, you're kidding, aren't you? The horse was nudging her every morning and saying to her, come on, let's go. God, if you believe that, you know, I've got a bridge to sell you.
The family says if anyone was to survive
they found
cold night.
Community banding together to come help find Mum. Pretty stoked with the app.
She's really tough. She always takes matches and a pocket knife with her wherever she goes.
Conducted over the last 2 days.
Oh, I think you fucked the script up there, Keegan. 2 days, did you say? I thought she was lost for 4.
So yeah, look, it is extremely good spirits, laughing with the people that located her.
Incredible
Her family now keen for her to hang up the
than
reins.
ever.
Giving her a stern talking to, trying to convince her to take up knitting or something, get rid of that bloody horse.
In Hoax Hills, Eliza Rugg, 9 News.
Okay, well, let's go on to the next stage of this analysis. What I've done is tried to piece together the footage that was given to the TV networks so they could edit, cut and use as they like. Now, I've broken it up into a few sections The first one I've called the pre-rescue, and it was all the footage done before they went out looking for her. And it shows, you know, the rescue workers and volunteers being advised by the police, etc., on what the plan of attack is for that day. So yeah, here it is here, showing the police helicopter, trail bikes that they're going to use apparently, four-wheel drives. Here's a shot of the crowd who's gathered to help find this poor lost person. Now, one thing to note, that everyone you see here, even her sons and her sister, you do not see them later on giving her hugs or kisses or anything. Now, the next bit of footage is was shot as they were walking around in the bush. So yeah, here it is here, showing them going from left to right, coming around a bend here, you know, here they are going from right to left. Here they are top to bottom, coming from the top there and walking down, and everyone's smiling and a thumbs up. You know, have a look at her clothes and have a look at some of the people in this rescue party. Have a look at that fat bastard at the front there, as if he'd be fit enough to go searching for someone in the bush. But anyway, yeah, there was a lot of footage done of them just going this way and going that way in the bush, you know. I mean, who the hell's filming all this? Yeah, he's a little bit more. This is sort of just as they're coming out to civilization. Yeah, just take note. How clean is she? Eh? 4 nights in the bush. Bullshit. And here she is with her rescuers coming out of the bush to the applause of family members who have been so worried about her. There she is, clean as a whistle, rescued. And here's the aftermath of her getting into the ambulance. Off she goes apparently while they celebrate with champagne. Champagne all round. We've done a great job here. We've fooled the public. Here we go, there's one of her sons, and there's footage of her horse being led away. Yeah, as I said, all this footage is given to each of the news networks, and they just cut it up and edit it and paste it as they see fit. More footage here of them all hugging, but you won't see her anywhere around here with her sons or anything like that. There's the sister and her brother-in-law, and here's the other frauds who work with her. And here's the last bit of the pre-recorded footage that was given to the news networks to do as they please. It's the interviews.
2 days ago I got the phone call that we hadn't heard from Mum in a couple of days, and coming all the way from Western Australia over, it was playing on my nerves. You don't realise what you got until it's put in front of you like that, and it's just unbelievable. It's put in front of you like that, and it's just unbelievable. Giving her a stern talking to, trying to convince her to take up knitting or something, get rid of that bloody horse.
Yeah, the community banding together to come help find Mum. Pretty stoked with the outcome. Over the moon, really.
We turned around and she was just walking down with the horse, and we kind of all screamed and thought it was a ghost, and it was her. And we turned around and she was just walking down with the horse, and we kind of all screamed and thought it was a ghost. Down with the horse, and we kind of all screamed and thought it was a ghost, and it was her. At one stage the horse disappeared for a few hours and she didn't know what to do. She was too tired, but when she woke up the horse was back there, and every morning it was waking her up, nudging her, going, come on, let's go.
It appears that she has come off the horse at some stage, received a slight bump to the head, and that yeah, she's just been sort of walking the horse around in the bush area. Just goes down to showing that her experience and knowledge of the area. We're probably very fortunate of that. She was in good spirits, laughing with the people that located her. It was fairly thick terrain that the searches have been conducted over the last 2 days. So yeah, look, it is an extremely good result.
It's tough. She's really tough. She always takes matches and a pocket knife with her wherever she goes. It's amazing.
She's a tough bugger. If anyone's going to do what she was. Locating the lady was fantastic, because it's not often we're that lucky.
Yeah, you just walk back, looked as sprightly and happy, and say he's pretty much perfect.
Police in Mansfield say when they put the call out yesterday that Narelle was missing, they were inundated with hundreds of calls from local residents offering to volunteer with the search. That meant that they could start the search earlier this morning, and that's when they found Narelle.
Narelle was wearing thermals and used a waterproof jacket and a horse blanket to shelter from the weather. But even still, temperatures dipped below 0 degrees on each of the 4 nights she spent lost in the bush.
All up, more than 50 volunteers joined in the search to bring Narelle home, and the Mansfield community says this incredible experience has brought them closer than ever.
Yeah, well, okay. Hopefully I've shown you that this is a totally fabricated story, total bullshit. But if you're not convinced, stay tuned for the next little bit. It's my version of a Jurassic Liars analysis of the hoax codes in this story, and there are plenty. So here we go with the JWL analysis. Well, I thought I might do a little bit of a Jurassic Liars analysis on this story, because it is absolutely chock-a-block full of hoax codes. Now, to start with, have a look where this all sort of took place. Now, the sign there says Castle Rock. Now, what does Castle Rock have in it? Well, the first 2 letters of rock, R-O, those 2 letters add up to 33. Now, just below that is Upper Jamison. Now, what does Upper have in it? Upper has the PP, because we know that these butt pluggers love the PP. And Jamison has the sun. And as we know, it's the man, the sun, and the ram. And if you notice, the first 4 letters of Jamison, J-A-M-I, they add up to 33 as well. Now, the main character in this, what was her name? Her name was Narelle Davies. Now, what does Narelle have in her name? Well, the first 3 letters of her name, N-A-R, they add up to 33. And the last 3 letters of her surname, I-E-S, in Davies, I-E-S, those 3 letters, they add up to 33 as well. And she's got the E-L in her name. The E-L for Elohim. Can you believe this shit, man? Now, let's have a look at one of the creatures that rescued her. Here she is. Now, if you notice, she's a volunteer. Now, what does volunteer have in it? Volunteer has the double E, which turned backwards equals 33. Now, what else does she have in her name? In Vanessa, she has the ass, backwards, the last 3 letters. Vanessa, the ass. And her surname, Hewson, has the sun in it. Just like JWL keeps telling us. It's the man, the sun, and the ram. And this one, she's got it all. Now, where are these butt pluggers from? They apparently work with Narelle at Timber Top campus at Geelong Grammar School. Now, what does Geelong have in it? Geelong, as you can see, has the double E, which backwards is 33. And what does Grammar have in it? Grammar has the ram. The last 3 letters of Grammar, R-A-M, backwards is the ram. The sun, the man, and the ram. And here's the son. The son, would you believe? Cam Davies. Now, Cam Davies, just like his mum, has the I-E-S in his surname, the last 3 letters, and they add up to 33. And what was this butt plugger wearing? Let's have a look here. What's it say there? It says Kon-Tiki. That's quite appropriate, actually, because this whole thing was a con. Now, here's the sister and the brother-in-law, Kelly and Gary Claridge. Now, what does Kelly have in her name? Kelly has the E-L, which, as we know, stands for Elohim. Let's keep going. Here's another one, another volunteer. And we know that volunteer has the double E, backwards equals 33. And what's her name? Angie Lloyd. Now, if you take the last letter of her first name, the E, And the first letter of her surname, the L, what do we have? We have L for Elohim. Can you believe this shit, man? Let's keep going. He's another volunteer from the SES. And what's his name? Rolly Vella. Now, what does Rolly Vella have in his name? Well, the first two letters, R-O. Those two letters add up to 33. And what else does Rolly Vella have in his name? He's got the E-L, which once again stands for Elohim. Now, have a look at this one here. Senior Sergeant Damien Keegan. Now, apart from having the SS in Senior Sergeant, the same letters, his Christian name is Damien. Now, anyone familiar with the Omen movie will know that the devil's name in that was Damien. And if you also notice, Keegan, his surname, has the double E. The double E, which is 33 backwards. This is unbelievable. Now, let's go on to the sellout reporters that covered this story. He's the first one from Channel 7, and her name is Estelle Gray Pink. Now, what does Estelle have in her name? Estelle has the E-L for Elohim. This is just amazing. Now, let's have a look at the reporter from Channel 9 News. And what's her name? Her name's Eliza Rugg. Well, what does Eliza have in her name? She's got the E-L for Elohim as well. Now, on to the last one from Channel 10 News, Eyewitness News, Candice Wyatt. She doesn't seem to have much in her name apart from the can. And as we all know, the can is also a reference to the butt. And we know what these butt pluggers love. They love the people up the butt. End of video.
Oh, I'm out of snow. Booshit, 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 booshit. No drinks for me, thanks. Booshit, booshit, booshit.